folks, and as promised, we are revisiting the 60G FT, the Tier 5 Chinese tank destroyer, because I aced this tank in my second game, and it was completely and 100% stock. Stock everything. So I promised that, I would bring another game to you when I'd fully upgraded it and picked up the first ace as it fully upgraded, and it was a tank, as I mentioned multiple times in the first ace video, that I hated it. I absolutely hated this tank. It was far too big, it was far too sluggish, far too immobile, couldn't turn very well, and had absolutely no armor, and on top of that, the gun handling was absolutely awful. The stock gun, even though it was the final gun on the Tier 4, the stock gun had worse gun handling on the Tier 5 than it did have, or than it had on the Tier 4 is the final gun, so I couldn't understand that discrepancy, but I just hated this tank, and I fully upgraded it, and, do I still hate it now that it's fully upgraded? That's a very good question. So here we have the fully upgraded 60G FT as I'm playing it in this game, and here we have the 60G FT stock as I played it in the original Ace. Now what you could see is the tank seems to be a little bit better regarding its gun. You get more DPM, you get more penetration, you get more alpha. So that's good. Slightly slower rate of fire, but the extra alpha and the extra penetration make up for it. So DPM seems to be quite good. Potential damage, you get more potential damage. We move down, we get the gun handling, and that is a huge difference because this is ridiculously bad compared to the Tier 4, but now we've got decent aim time of 1.7, which is very, very good. The accuracy goes from 0.04 to 0.38, which 0.38 is not good, but it's good enough. And then the soft gun stats seem to be a little bit better when shooting on the move or shooting while turning your tank. You still got the 8 degrees of gun depression, which is okay, and then mobility has improved hugely as well because we get a much more powerful engine fully upgraded, which means that even though the weight is, it's a little bit lighter, which is kind of surprising. It is a little bit lighter, considering everything's the final gun, final engine, and everything else. It's still a little bit lighter, but it means that the power to weight ratio is much, much better. So 17.31 is definitely workable, whereas 13.24 with terrible ground resistance, it was just a horrible experience. And you can see that the ground resistance, not only does the power to weight ratio improve immensely, but the ground resistance is better on the final engine and with the final suspension as well. So the tank turns better, it's got a faster tank traverse, it's got better ground resistance while turning, better ground resistance, and faster power to weight ratio while accelerating. So it seems to have a lot more mobility when it's finally upgraded. The armor is still absolutely garbage. Your hit points don't change and your view range is exactly the same. And the radio, the final radio, isn't that much better than the stock one. You only go up to 600 meters radio range compared to 525 with the stock radio. So, but overall, it definitely has better mobility. It definitely has better gun handling. It definitely has a better gun. So do I still hate it? It's difficult. No, I don't still hate it. I think it's a much, much better tank when it's fully upgraded. However, I still dislike it immensely. I wouldn't say I'd go as far as hating it, but I dislike it immensely, mainly because some of the biggest problems I had with it were it's just too big and it has no armor, and it means you've got to play it incredibly passively. But as I promised, I'm going to bring you the first ace and it fully upgraded. This is the one, and I'm very, very close to finishing the grind now, so I'm going to be selling this in 1 or 2 daily doubles, touch wood, never have to play it again. But you can see that, even though the ground resistance and the acceleration has improved, it's still slow, it's still sluggish, and it's just not a lot of fun to play. And as I say, it can do okay if you play it incredibly passively and if you get lucky with your teams. But, I find it very, very difficult to play TDs that way. I tend to lose my patience. Do it in a lot of games, and that's probably one of the reasons I die quite so often. I just get bored sitting in a spot and waiting for tanks to appear. But anyway, we're here on the Arctic map, and we're going to move up and use the standard bushes here. I'm a Tier 5 and a Tier 7 game, so this ace is actually one of the games that kind of surprise me as well. So I've got nothing to shoot at here. I'm just testing out the final gun and looking for accuracy. You can see that the aim time is quite good, but we track the T-25AT. So we've got nothing to shoot at, but we managed to hit his outside track him. We're picking up assistance damage because of our tracking. Oh, he's back up. No, he's back down. And the gun is accurate enough at .38 to be able to do this. Okay, we've missed a couple of shots, but there we go. Let's just keep him tracked. And hopefully someone's going to give us more assistance damage. So we're getting it. Maybe I shouldn't have taken my gun off the target there, but we're still picking up assistance damage in the meantime. T-34-85, and look at that shot didn't even reach the target, and that's .38 accuracy at distance. So the accuracy is still not good, but it's definitely a lot better than the stock gun. You can see that the shell velocity isn't amazing, how much the shell loops before it hits the target. It takes a good second for the shot to actually reach the target, so but we've picked up a kill on the T-34-85, and when you're a tier 5, you know, and you're shooting higher tier tanks and getting assistance on higher tier tanks, it's quite nice. So Cromwell is still there. He's showing his turret, and oh, we sneaked that one in. You can see a beautiful 171. Someone else hit him at the same time. I thought I did 300 damage there, but someone else hit him at the same time. And no, he's come back. So very, very low roll of 150 there. But the gun seems to be quite good. So you get 180 damage, so that 150 was an extremely low roll, but premium ammo gets you up to 220 with heat as we go to work on this KV-1. Now, once again, I don't have 6 cents on the crew, but we're just going to keep on pouring shots into this KV-1 as long as we can. The only thing that's worrying me is Artie. If Artie decides to focus me, I'm a one-hit kill. So KV-1 misses. He's not using the derp gun, so I have less fear. Okay, ELC is up here. Let's move forward, see if we can get our eyes on the ELC. Use our 8 degrees of gun depression. There he is. And our gun depression is just not good enough. Just a fraction not good enough. But IS is moving up tier 7 heavy. Why he's on this flank, I have no idea, but we're wondering if he's going to poke. So I'm firing standard AP, and we've tracked him. Okay, we've tracked him, but no damage. And that shot went, I don't know where that shot went. That went high into the right. So another blind shot there, and someone is returning fire. So I don't know if I've been spotted or whether he was just firing in the direction of the gun marker. But ELC has moved up, found a comet. Stridswagen M42 is moving up to try and get eyes on the IS. So, a couple of low-tier tanks here taking on the IS, top-tier heavy, but it seems as if the IS did take some damage, so it's possible we may have actually hit him with a blind shot. But we're going to move up and, try and help the Stridswagen M42 and maybe the Dickermax, but once again, you can see the acceleration is just, it's painfully slow, and it's better than it was stock, but it's still not good. So, we're just going to move around. I've, thought I was going to switch to premium ammunition here to make sure, but IS comes down. He's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. He's taking fire, and I want these guys to get out of the way. Hey, beautiful shot. So we get one shot in. He's trying to drown himself. We're not going to allow that to happen. Shot in the move, take him out, and there we go. We've killed a tier 7 heavy. So I should have enough time at the end of this game to avoid drowning. There we go. So as promised, first ace on the tank fully upgraded, and as I say, I'm very, very close to finishing the grind now, so as soon as I do, I'll be selling this. It's just not a lot of fun to play. Now, I did hate it when I originally played it stock. I think it's a terrible, terrible stock tank, but fully upgraded, it's playable, it's just not a lot of fun. So I've kind of changed my opinion now that everything's been upgraded, but definitely not a tank I'd like to play for fun. Tier 5, Tier 7 game, still able to do a job, but it was a very, very average game in the end, and I'm kind of surprised it was an ace, but considering how difficult this tank can be to play, how much of a glass cannon it is, how bad the camo rating on it is, maybe it's not surprising. If you can have any sort of good game in this, it'll be an ace. So we finished top on XP with 1135 as a tier 5 and a tier 7 game. Did almost, just did over 1800 damage with 3 kills, and fired 22, hit 17. So the gun is a heck of a lot better, although you do tend to bounce and the shell velocity isn't very good. So we only managed to hit our pen 12 of those shots, didn't have to fire any premium ammunition. Spotted one because he had to play extremely passively, can't play this one aggressively at all. Damage 5, destroyed 3, 851 assistance damage, 13,000 in ammo, and 26,000 credits with a premium account, which is pretty standard for a tier 5. First game of the day was a ×2, which left me on 3,406 XP, which was a huge step towards the tier 6. So yeah, 60 GFT, it's not terrible. It's pretty close to being terrible, but I don't hate it anymore. I just dislike it immensely. That's pretty much the feedback I'm going to give you on this. It's not a good TD. It's too big. Its armor is garbage. The camo rating is terrible. The gun depression is okay, but you've got to expose a lot of your tank in order to use it. And stock, it is an absolute nightmare to play. Horrible stock tank. Fully upgraded, it's just about playable, and thankfully the biggest saving grace of this tank is the fact it's a tier 5 and it doesn't take that long to grind through. So yeah, there we go. I promised you to revisit it when it was fully upgraded. It's done. It's dusted, and sooner rather than later it's going to be sold. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.